throwing things over to you. NHL playoffs just around the corner. What's going on over there?
So first, I'm going to get to the Seattle Kraken, the newest team in the NHL. They add Luke Henman to their roster. He's their franchise's first signing. He's a 21-year-old center. They signed him on an entry-level contract, which is 3 years. Um, he is the team captain and leading scorer currently for the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League, Blainesville Bourbrain Armada. He was a fourth-round draft pick to the Hurricanes in 2018. However, he was unsigned through this season, which for people who don't know how that works, once you're drafted to the NHL, they have 3 years to claim your rights. If they don't sign you to your contract by the end of the 3 years, you become a free agent, and then you can sign wherever you want to sign. So Seattle jumping out early, going to pick up this young stud, and from what they've said about the kid, they're very excited to have him in the building and being on the ice as part of the Seattle Kraken. So that's pretty exciting news over there. Then we have, yes, the playoffs right around the corner, set to start Saturday, where you have the first matchup. You have the Boston Bruins playing the Washington Capitals. Who do you think is going to win that series?
I mean, obviously being a Caps fan, I want to lean towards them, but I know Ovechkin's had some time off the ice, so long as he can come back and kind of um, jump right back in, that's obviously going to give them their best chance to win. Um, but I mean, Boston's kind of clawed their way into the top as well. They were kind of outside the bubble, and about 3/4 of the way through the season, they ramped it up and boom, jumped up into the top. So they're playing really good hockey as well. But yeah, I don't know. I gotta stick with my Caps, at least making out of the first round this year.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. I think Washington is going to fuck it, dude. I'm going to go with Boston's actually young guns. Their additions that they made at the deadline too have just pushed their team to another level, and they're firing on all cylinders right now. Like you said, Ovechkin's been hurt, he's been banged up. Chara's old, he's playing and then he's going to be playing against his former team, which is super fast. Like the Capitals don't have the speed to keep up with the Boston Bruins for 7 games, if it goes 7 games. So Caps either got to get it done in 4 or 5. Otherwise, Boston's gonna take it home because they just have too much depth. They're young guys. They're just a really young team, and Pastas, Marchand, and Bergeron, one of the greatest lines to ever play the game. You know that they're good for a good, I don't know, 3 points a night, 5 points a night. So it's going to be interesting to see who wins that one. But yeah, and then let's move on to Sunday's matchups. We have the New York Islanders taking on the Pittsburgh Penguins. Who you got in that series?
Gotta go with the Pens. The Islanders kind of snuck in at that 4th spot. Again, Sidney Crosby. That's all there really is to say about that matchup. Penguins probably take that series in 4 or 5 games. I don't even know if the Islanders would even win a game in that series, honestly.
Yeah, I think the Islanders they'll win. They'll at least win 1 or 2. But yeah, Penguins are going to win. Sucks for the Islanders losing their captain to a season-ending ACL injury, and then they have a couple more injuries happen along the way. Penguins are now back to full strength. They're getting Evgeny Malkin back, the machine. Plus, they added Jeff Carter, he scored 9 goals in like 13 games that he's been with Pittsburgh. So he's been on a tear. Pittsburgh is looking very good. I hate to say it being a Flyers fan, but honestly, I think right now Pittsburgh looks like what they have to potentially make it to the Cup. Then the next matchup of the day, the first time this has ever happened, Tampa Bay Lightning battling the Florida Panthers, interstate playoff rival matchup. Who do you got?
Ooh, that's a good one. I don't know. I mean, just I guess at least once a week, if not almost every day, the Panthers are just kind of on a roll, and they've been like outside the glass looking in for a while. And I think now that they've got into the playoffs, yes, the Tampa Bay Lightning are reigning champs, so that's going to be a tall task to try to go toe to toe with them. But I don't know. I like the underdogs in this one. I like Florida coming out of this series. I feel like it's going to be a close one, game 6, game 7 kind of series, but I like Florida.
I agree with you as well. Florida, I feel they have the depth, and don't get me wrong, Tampa's unbelievable. They really basically had the same team come back, didn't really lose anybody. So it's going to be interesting to see. Their goalie has been struggling, however, though, a little bit this year, and he's kind of been their backbone, I should say. If he's playing good, the team is playing well. He's had some ups and down moments this season, and I feel like Florida right now, like you said, seems like every week they've putting together a handful of good runs, beating some great teams, and I definitely feel like Florida's going to take it probably 6. That'd be my guess. Then let's go on to the next matchup we have starting on Monday. Nashville Predators taking on the Carolina Hurricanes. Who do you got?
I don't know. I gotta go with Carolina just because Carolina's like they remind me a lot of like making it I guess an NFL comparison like a Cowboys or a Packers. The fan base just gives them that extra lift on top of being obviously a great hockey team. Um, in a playoffs where fans are obviously going to make a difference because last year they didn't have any, and then Scotia North hasn't played with playoff or with fans all year, so that's going to be interesting to see how they adapt to that. But um, Canes have home ice too, correct?
Yep, Carolina was the number 1 seed. Yep,
Okay,
correct.
I thought so. Yeah, gotta go with Carolina on that matchup.
Agreed. Even though Nashville's been on fire, they were in a battle for basically the last 16 games with the Dallas Stars, fighting for that last spot. They caught fire at the end of the year and found a way to sneak into the playoffs. Any team that finds a way to sneak in and is pretty much battling, has nothing to lose, is a really scary team to face in that first round. I think Carolina gets it done, but I think Nashville takes them 7. If not an upset by Nashville in 7, just due to they're a really gritty team. Like, this is going to be a really good matchup. They both play the same style. They're fast, they're physical. This is going to be a really good series to watch, and that's why I'm thinking this is going to go all 7. Then let's move to the first Canadian matchup of the playoffs here. That is going to take place on Wednesday, 8 o'clock on NBCSN. Winnipeg Jets facing Mr. Mighty McDavid. Who do you got in this one?
Well, given that I got Edmonton going all the way, got to go with Edmonton. McDavid, they're gonna. I could see him sweeping the Jets. The Jets have struggled down the stretch. I honestly surprises me how they kind of snuck in with that 4th spot, but again, like you said, any team that makes it into the playoffs obviously is had an admirable season, but when the on the other side of the ice, you got Connor McDavid, who's just slicing and dicing everybody night after night, plus the playoff intensity ramped up. Yeah, if the Jets win one game, good for them. Otherwise, I see Edmonton sweeping that series.
For sure. And then the last matchup that's guaranteed as of right now, due to the Avalanche playing the last game tonight, if they win, they're the President's Trophy and they're the 1 seed. We'll get into that after this matchup. But Montreal Canadiens versus the Toronto Maple Leafs.
See,
I do have to give you a pretty cool little statistic here that I did found this online last night. This is pretty neat. The Toronto Maple Leafs will face the Montreal Canadiens in the Stanley Cup Playoffs for the first time since April 1979. Zdeno Chara is the only active NHL player who was alive at the time.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, just that with all the games being interdivision all year, the Nova Scotia division's been really fun to watch. Just Canadian hockey against Canadian hockey all
And these are
year.
2 original 6 teams too as well.
And yeah, it's just been really fun to watch all year. Again, these two teams are very familiar with each other, though I think that Toronto is going to get out of their first round slump. I know it's been how many years that they can't get past that first round. Um, Jack Campbell in the net, Austin Matthews slinging them. I like the Maple Leafs in that one. I think the Canadians will probably win 1, 2, maybe 3 games. I could see that series going 6. I don't think that Toronto sweeps them, but yeah, I'd say at least 5 games will be played in that series. But yeah, Toronto will win it.
I think this is going to go 7.
Okay.
And my dark horse pick to win was Toronto. So I do think Toronto will squeak by. They just have the skills that Montreal doesn't. Montreal's just a little bit too big and a little slow on the back end. Their defenders they got Petrie, who's a hell of a defender. He's the one that can basically get up and down. Where the Leafs, every single member of their team is an offensive threat. Even their defensemen jumping up into the play, skating the puck. You don't really see that too much from the Montreal defenders. I think Toronto's just too deep. It would be awesome to see Montreal win and get past, obviously, due to Cole Caulfield being on the squad. And he did score and get an apple last night, so that was pretty cool for him. But yeah, I just think Toronto's just got a little bit too much firepower, and Austin Matthews scoring at the rate that he's scoring, Mitch Marner right on the line with him, producing how he is producing, is just insane, I feel like. And then yeah, you finally have a goaltender in Jack Campbell who can stand in the net and get it done for you. So that, yeah, I think that's going to go 7 though. And yeah, Toronto, I think, just got a little bit too much firepower for Montreal to be able to bite off in that one. And then getting down to the last matchups here, it's either going to be, well, I'm just going to predict it for how it's pretty much going to be. For those of you who don't know, Colorado played the Kings last night, and they play them again tonight in the last regular season game for them. They won 6-0 last night, and they didn't even have all their guys playing like the full minutes that they normally were playing. So tonight you can expect the same thing. Maybe not 6-0, but you're going to see the Avalanche win, so they will get that President's Trophy spot. So Vegas will then move to the 2 seed. So it will be Colorado taking on the St. Louis Blues. That will start on Monday. Who do you think is going to win in this series, the Avalanche or the Blues?
Ooh, I like this one. Blues are hot right now. Blues, they kind of, my gosh. But the Avalanche, they've just been obviously going to probably win the President's Trophy tonight. Putting up the most points in hockey is obviously something to write home about. Ooh. I'm gonna give Colorado the benefit of the doubt, home ice, 1 seed. I'm gonna say that it goes game 7 though. I think that the Blues are gonna keep their hot streak going, but if they're gonna come up short, Colorado wins it in 7.
I got the Avalanche in 5 here. They're way too much for St. Louis to handle. Yeah, it was amazing to see St. Louis battle as hard as they did to get into the playoffs here. But this ain't nothing like when they won the cup. That season were in last place like halfway through, and then they went on an incredible run. This is nothing like that. If it were to be a run like that, then maybe we'd have something to talk about here. But no, Binnington's been too wishy-washy in net for him. You never know when he's going to lay an egg. Plus the scoring power that Colorado has, currently scoring the second most goals in the NHL this year, right behind Vegas. The only 2 teams to have a differential of plus 60 or higher, which is fucking insane in a 53 game or 56 game season. Yeah, Colorado's way too much for them. And then it's going to be Vegas and Minnesota Wild battling it on.
Ooh. Minnesota Wild's been kind of quiet this year for being a 3 seed. Because they were outside for a while, and then kind of down the stretch they put together some good runs, got up to that 3 seed. But I don't know. I screw it.
So
I'm gonna go.
35 and they're 35 and 15. Vegas is 40 and 14.
Okay. I'm gonna go Minnesota Wild. I'm gonna because there's gonna be. I've been kind of going, I guess, predictable and based off who like the higher seed and home ice and all that. I'm gonna say Minnesota Wild. This is gonna be the head scratcher matchup of what happened to Vegas, and Minnesota's gonna put together a good series. I'm gonna say Minnesota wins it in 6.
Yeah, I think this is probably going to be the second best series, if not tied with Toronto, Montreal for the series. Actually, Washington and Boston is going to be pretty gritty too. Like those two teams fucking absolutely hate each other, and Florida and Tampa. So you actually have a lot of really scary matchups as far as the physicality aspect. For those of you as well who don't know, in the playoffs, you see hits in a regular season game, probably around like maybe 30 between both teams. In the playoffs, those are around 100 a game. So every single time you're touching the puck, you're getting hit. Uh, it's that's why I personally think it's the hardest trophy to win in all of sports, just due to all the aspects that you have to deal with, the travel, the fighting. It's just a gladiator. It's gladiator type shit when it's in the playoffs, because
Well,
that's when you have.
when it's all said and done, to here, guys, skating or played the playoffs, broken ankles, broken ribs, all this and that comes out after the season's over. And it's like, holy shit, you played how many playoff games with all that going on?
Well, yeah, in hockey too, especially, they really don't ever disclose injuries, just due to the fact that if you're going to release that, people are going to target that. So that's just, I mean, as simple and as like that of like a point that is, that's exactly what it is. If you know a guy's got a bum knee, you're going to fucking take it right at that knee every single time. And a guy's got a bum shoulder, fucking hit him a couple extra times in the shoulder, get it to go. Oh yeah, people play with broken legs, broken, cracked ribs, punctured spleens. Like, people are insane when it comes to the NHL playoffs, but they also know winning the Stanley Cup is one of the hardest things to do, and your name's engraved on that trophy forever. So it's worth it.
Mm-hmm.